Hey, welcome back y'all. A to Z haircutting. My name is Pearl Foy. We've been doing class after class after class. The first haircut was the zero. In other words, everything just fit around the head. Oh, by the way, we did have our introduction before. So there's terms that I'm using. There's words, verbiages about the head form, where to go on the head form. You're supposed to draw a diagram. Everything is diagrammed. Here's the head form. This is our map. So if you don't know this, it makes it real difficult for you to get this. So it's strongly recommended that you go to our introductory class. It identifies everything, gives our standard. I'm teaching you exactly the way I do. I'm a cosmetology teacher. I've been doing hair for 52 years, 32 years teaching. I've done platform work, worked for major companies. You're familiar with Redken. I've worked with them, Loxy, Lonza, many of the big lines. And now I'm teaching. I love it. I love what I do. But what our last haircut, we did the zero. Then of course we did the V haircut, and you saw how perfectly that V'd out. And then now the last haircut was our A line. This was done a little bit longer. This one here, pardon me, I hope you can see it. If you can't see it, I'm going to bring it over just a little bit into it. This is longer, a little bit shorter, and then our shortest one was here, where we started taking it way up. We will be doing it one more time. We chose to do it longer this time. The reason for that is because when we get down into it, especially when it's that close to the scalp, you have to do a little bit of scissor over comb. So when we get into clipper cutting, which will be coming, I'll be teaching you exactly how to do scissor over comb so that you're successful with it, so that you see what you're doing, so that you understand it. So anyways, you see the different variables in it, but one thing I want to show you in this one, I didn't fix it because I wanted you to see it. But let me shift her down a bit here, and maybe you can see these little corners. And remember, these corners are this right here. It's normal. That's supposed to happen. So when your stylist, or if you've gotten an A-line in the salon before, excuse my back, you've gotten an A-line in the salon before, and then your stylist is going in and nipping a little bit. That's what they're doing. They're taking care of those corners. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just pick it up. I don't know if you can see it or not. Forgive me but it is cut at an angle. This is an A-line. Notice on this side, I'm going down. All right. The other side, getting rid of that corner. I still have just a little bit right there. That's what your stylist is doing. And I'm cutting it along my line or my guide. See that corner right there? All that is the back nape line, perimeter line at the nape. So I'm cleaning that up because that's going to be something you're going to be doing when you do the cut. You're not just going to do the cut and have it come out perfect. These things become real. When you take hair to a stationary guide, it develops or finds a place of the perimeter line. So that looks a lot better, as you can see. So I wanted to make sure and show you that. This is the little bit longer. Let me make sure my stand is straight. This is the little bit longer A-line. So what we're going to do today, all the cuts we've done so far, sorry, my cameraman told me I was holding it down. Okay, all the cuts we've done so far have been held down. Now I know that for the A-line, we directed it back, but we held it down. For the V haircut, we directed it forward, but we held it down. The haircuts now that we're going to be doing, I'm going to bring this down a bit. The haircuts now that we're going to be doing are going to be held straight up. The cut that you're going to learn today is called the 180. It's a common factor in a salon, common factor to hairstylists. You're going to subsection it out at the parietal line. When we subsection it at the parietal line, I'm going to use this mannequin for it. This one because we got a lot of stringy ends there that have not been cut. So this is going to help take care of some of that. We're going to clean it up a little bit afterwards. As a matter of fact, I think this is one of our mannequins that we did the V on. And again, remember, everything was held straight down, and you can see that that V's out into it. We didn't blow dry this one. We just cut it. So just to show it to you. But what we're going to do with it today, I'm going to subsection her at the parietal line. I'm going to bring it straight up. Now we're only going to travel, when we do this, we're only going to travel midsection into the occipital and into the flat part of the head. Only mid, because we're not going to need to do more than that. We may need to do some in the back because this is pretty long, but because I know where the parietal line is at, you notice I'm just doing it with my fingers. And once you get to know where it's at, you'll be doing the same thing. And sometimes you may section it, sometimes you may not, because you know where it's at. If you don't know where you're going, how do you know where you're at? So I'm just going to kind of clip this out of the way for now, because we're going to take this kind of short to get this done so that it works. And sorry, excuse me, but I got to get a bigger clip here. But I had my clips with me. You can tell I'm prepared today. So that's clipped up. Do you see that? Pretty well clipped up all the way around. Excuse me, you guys. Sorry. Here they are. Okay, I found some. I just dropped a little box, but that's all right. And remember, we're not here to impress you. I'm not here to try. I mean, I know some people do it all fancy. I'm not condemning them. I think it's fantastic. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to take you and tell you the whys on everything. So what I'm going to do right now, I want to subsection this off at the area of the flat part of the head, and I'm just going to clip that down. So I'm going to clip that down out of the way, more for you than for me. All right, again, on the flat part of the head. And remember, I said mid-occipital. So here is the occipital area, mid-occipital. I'm going to clip this off to the side. I'm just getting it out of the way because I'm only at this point going to elevate at the parietal line, nothing below that, to show you the cut. The first cut we're going to be doing on the 180 is side to side. She looks marvelous, doesn't she? Okay, we're going to be doing it side to side. I'm going to bring her down just a bit more. And you will definitely be able to see this cut when I do it. When we do this cut, the one thing I want you to take note of, what I mean by side to side, we're still going to travel all the way back to the vertex, all right? We're still traveling back to the vertex. What I mean by side to side is I'm going from this side to that side, this side to that side, this side to that side. You have an option. You can part it down the center. Do one side first and then the other. The main thing is we're going to hold everything straight up and we're going to cut it straight across, side to side, traveling back. The one thing I want you to take note of, and I'm going to give you the why later when we do the next cut. The next cut's going to be the same, however it's going to be front to back, but you'll get to see this blow dried. And I'll be doing the other one on another mannequin. So if I'm going to do this side to side, I want to get her wet first. And you either cut dry or you cut wet, but do not cut damp. Because hair is going to do different things when you cut it differently. Now when you come back, what we're going to do is we're going to blow dry this. And you'll get to see what the top does. But we'll be doing the other cut on a different mannequin because we are going to take this one pretty short. So I'm going to subsection it here at the frontal fringe. I'm going to bring it straight across. Now you can see that it's not reaching the parietal line because of this rounded area. There is your why again. This rounded area, if I were to take it all the way to the parietal line, my section would be way too big. I want to be able to see my guide, so I'm just taking it off right there at that center frontal fringe. I'm going to pick it up, and this time I want to make sure, you see how this hair is leaning in this form a little bit? I don't want it to. Everything needs to be straight up, just like when we did it straight down. It's not different, it's the same. We're just holding it straight up. And I'm going to use the secondary position again. Cut straight across. All right? This again becomes my guide for the hair next to it. And I'm going to bring that straight up. There's my guide, cut it across. Bring that over. I'm cutting that hair now behind it. Now, this hair is slightly leaning back, but I'm actually using the hair right next to it. I'm not directing this hair all the way back to cut it. I'm using that hair right next to this line as I travel back. And this is why this is called cutting it side to side, right there. Now I hope that you can see this. I want to make sure that the mannequin is turned around enough. I'm going to push that forward because I'm just using the hair right next to it as a guide. This is not going to travel back to be the guide. I'm using the hair or the line that I'm following. And I'm only taking it to the parietal line. Everything. I'm going to make sure I have a guide that I can see my guide. There it is. Almost thought I lost it there for a minute. Again. And then you don't go all the way across. It's not different when you're doing the top of the head. You go from side to center, side to center. Everything is straight up. All right? And as I take it back, that hair goes forward, still taking it straight up, side to side, and that's what that means. We're cutting it side to side. Again, keep in mind, this area at the frontal area, it's cut, there's a straight line that has been cut side to side right there. And that's going to do something. And I will be explaining it in our next video, our next series, when we do the front to back, because we're going to be blow drying this. Now the one thing that the side to side does when you hold it straight up like this, it makes the hair move. It makes it look choppy. Some people say, well, I just want it to flip out. I want to be able to see every layer that I've got. And that's what that'll do for you. All right. Again, that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything different. I am moving this forward. Let me turn it so I can show you. See, I'm moving this forward. So I'm taking that previous haircut right here. That's traveling back. That's what that's called. It's called traveling back. Now you see, all I've got is just that one piece to cut there. All right, move that forward. I'm going to take this small section, move that forward, and hold this straight up to cut. There's my line. There's my guide. Cut it straight across. Just follow that same line. I'm not doing anything different. Now I have a question for you. As I cut this on top, where is my shortest point going to be? Is it going to be at the apex? Is it going to be at the upper ridge? Is it going to be at the parietal line? Where is the shortest point going to be? I want you to think about it as you're cutting. Because you've got to know, one rule of thumb is when hair travels, it gets longer. But the shape of the head is a big factor in this haircut. And if you can get to where you do this haircut perfectly, when we get to clipper cutting, you should be able to do a perfect flat top with no problem. Okay, I'm at the vertex. I'm bringing it up. The back vertex right along the parietal line, and again, that goes straight up, and that's cut straight across. Everything is cut side to side, straight across. Now, does it look like I grabbed a whole bunch? Yeah, it does. Okay, so all we want is that subsection or that line right next to it. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to work the flat part of the head. I'm going to bring that up. And remember, we're doing it side to side, right? This time, I'm going to part it down the center. And we were doing it side to side, so I'm taking a straight line down, and it looks like I'll be able to cut all the way down to the end. There. See, I'm still doing it side to side. All right, I'm done with that. Bring this all the way down, and you're going to see that that's right at the center occipital. Again, if you're not familiar with the terms, please go to our introduction. It will tell you all the terms, everything that we're talking about right now, because like I said, this is how I'm going to teach it. I teach you exactly the same way I teach my students. Now, are you seeing that little bit of a choppy look there? That's what you're going to get with this haircut. Now I'm going to take down that mid-occipital. I'm not going to cut it yet, because I'm going to do the other side first. I'm going to turn her back around. And once you learn to do this cut, you want to diagram it. I've diagrammed all these cuts. One thing that I've done, too, for you to see, do I need to diagram? No, I did this for you. Every one of these cuts, everything is diagrammed in my little notebook here. So then I just go back and I can look at it. Or I decided, you know, I don't think they can see that on the video, so I made them bigger. One side is the diagram, how we're going to hold it up, side to side, and then this is the directions. Do you see these arrows coming up and down to continue? And then I've got my little notes there. You need to do the same thing. If you're not going to do a lot of hair cutting, for some of you that have been cutting, this is making sense to you. You're learning a little bit from it. You're getting information. But my diagram is not your diagram. You have to write it down so that you know what you're doing. So that you take all the information, and please comment. If there's something you don't understand, comment. But understand that I am going to explain it to you in the way that I explain to my students. I'm going to use professional terms. I'm going to use everything that we do, I'm giving to you. It fascinated me recently. I mean, you know, we're having this pandemic. Now see, I know where that parietal line is at. So I'm going to take it straight down again, straight up. Now, one thing that I want you to take note of, this is straight up onto the parietal line. Do you see that? Straight up into the parietal line. So all that hair that's being cut is right there at the parietal line. I'm sorry, but there you go. So it's all coming straight up. I'm not doing it at an angle. Everything is straight up. And like I said before, we do our next cut. I'll blow dry this so you can see it, and I'll be doing it again, straight up, cut straight across, Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start traveling to the back center occipital, side to center only. I'm not going to travel around it. Now, this is where it variates a little bit. You notice we were bringing things straight down, pulling it straight up. Okay, we got one there. Now, in the back, we're going to travel around the head form. Notice that half circle movement. Travel around the head form. This was just held out in this form. This is flat. Held out with it. Around the crown, we're rounded. So we have to travel around it as we cut it. If I bring it over, I'm going to end up with a long piece, because when hair travels, it becomes longer. We don't want it to become longer, so I'm going to take it straight down. I'm going to bring it straight up. There, I've gotten that done. I want to make sure that I've got all of it though, that I didn't miss any over here. Yeah, I did, see? Okay. And this particular mannequin has a lot of hair. Okay, so now I've traveled in this area. Now I'm going to pie shape here. And bring it straight up. Do you notice my fingers have turned? A while ago they were here, turning as we go. Now I'm going to go center, back, and I'm bringing that straight up. Now my fingers are straight, pointing at you. That's how you do this cut. But do you see that choppiness? Do you see the movement? You can see every single line in that hair. Now I'm going to take her around to the other side, and I'm going to pick this up right here where I was at. And again, remember, this side, my fingers are traveling out. Bring it straight down. And because I'm behind her, notice the angle. That's very, very important. And then center back. Again, I'm just working the occipital area. Try and make your subsections. This mannequin has a lot of hair, and you see it poofing out now. You see it coming out. Now I'm going to go ahead and see if I need to cut this area here. And again, side to center, side to center. And that's at the nape. We're down at the lower nape now. I don't think we're going to need anything other than the very center nape, but we'll see. But this haircut creates a lot of volume, strangely enough. Side to side, traveling back, makes the hair jump out. I'm going to bring it all the way down to the nape. See that? I'm going to comb it out. And again, this is rounded. I'm traveling around the head. I'm right here at the corner nape. My fingers are this way, along with the nape. Another comb. Sanitize your combs. All right. I'm going to bring it straight down, just right next to that. Bring it straight out, comb it. And whatever mannequin you choose to get, you're going to see the same results in every cut. Now I'm starting to travel to the center nape. When I get to the center nape, I'm going to go to the other side, because if I don't, the possibility of one side being longer than the other becomes extreme. Now I'm at the center nape now, and this is, this could be a little bit cleaner, but when mannequins have a lot of hair, it makes it just a little bit more difficult to do. All right, I'm going to go back to the area behind the ear, and you'll see my fingers again. Notice that I'm traveling around it. Okay, she's got just a little bit right there. And then this last little piece here. Now when we come back on the next cut, what we're going to do is I'm going to have this blow dried. But before I go, I want to show you something. because we are down to the wire right now. But if I had not have done, and I'll show it to you again, with the other mannequin does not have as much hair. Do you see where she is flat? This is flat. We took it straight up all the way around. It's flat. This is the result. If you do it right, it's going to be perfectly flat. A flat top is just much shorter. And you'll learn how to do that. But what I want you to notice, look at all the movement. Now, do you see this hair falling forward here? On the next haircut, you'll understand the why on that. I can try and make it go back, and it comes back forward. I'll tell you the why on it on our next one, which will be front to back. Same cut, just cut front to back. God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you again.